And then summer ended. I mean, none of the DLCs are unlocked, so yeah. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms and Lizzie as the four of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. That was a fun day. I didn't know that they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I. Oh no, we're so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom. How did you figure that one out? 'Cause I know. That's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie dear, there are all kinds of magic in the world. Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute the claim. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. Please, can we just play a little longer? We have to keep playing before it's too late. It is almost over. You put on your best puppy dog eyes. Lizzie may not want to, but you planned on going home. Mom looked down at Lizzie with a sigh as she continued pleading. We'll help with dinner tomorrow. Please. Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now. Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. Well... No. Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that Lizzie was very close to victory. Okay. All right. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming up inside, okay? Understand? Yes, Mom. So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Tines and Trinkets. Ooh, or maybe the playground. Or the fireflies would probably be coming out, right? Don't I get a say in this? You silently made your own plans. We can't go too far. I'm going home. We can't go too far. Lizzie pouted at you as you pointed this out. Mom said to be back in time for dinner. It won't take that long. I know, Risa. As a strong gust of wind made you shiver, Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself. Rude. Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet? That's all Lizzie said, before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mothers had gone. Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long she was disappearing off down the road. You followed Lizzie. You were getting rather chilly yourself, and there was plenty to do inside. You didn't bother trying to catch up with Lizzie, swinging your arms at your sides as you strolled along the beach. It was getting colder, but you couldn't help but want to enjoy the last bits of daylight while you could. Not much further down, you spotted a familiar green head of hair moseying along the shore. Social anxiety. Cove looked like he was busy doing something on his own, and you were heading home anyway, so you turned your eyes back to the road and kept moving. When you arrived, and then nothing happened. When you arrived, you saw your mothers in the kitchen, still working on dinner. You shut the door behind you, shivering lightly as you adjusted to the more pleasant temperature inside. Welcome home. Hi, sweetie. Oh, Risa, will you set the table? You'd been on your way to your room, and you stare longingly in that direction as you consider the question. Mom hadn't said you had to help. What's in it for me? Do I have to? Lizzie isn't helping. You pretended you didn't hear. Okay. Even though you had hoped to play, the fond look your mom sent you made it worthwhile. After you finished setting up the plates, you stayed in the kitchen chatting with your parents. It seemed like now that summer was winding down, time was speeding by. Soon it was time to eat. Lizzie talked about the busy schedule she'd made for herself tomorrow, and you watched the window and thought about how much you're going to miss the long, fun-filled days of sun and play. That night, it was hard to sleep for some reason. You stared blankly at the bits of dust and stuff floating in the air. Summer would be over soon. School would be starting up again. You couldn't help but feel... excited, scared, glad, baffled, strange. You weren't sure what this feeling was. You knew that summer would return after another year, but laying in your small bed in your silent room, it felt like you'd never be able to get the days you were leaving behind back. What if the ones waiting for you weren't as good? You let out a heavy sigh, rolling on your side. Ready or not, it was all right around the corner. Oh. In between. Oh? What's happening? Am I supposed to change anything? Or does it matter? Ooh, my feelings for Cove. I really don't feel like I've developed anything yet. I'm just gonna keep being social anxiety. Step 2, at nervous indifference. Ooh, customize Cove. What? What? I'm not going to change anything right now because this is the first time I'm playing. And I'm nervous and indifferent, so. That is a pretty picture. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. He would pass by you in the hallway as if you didn't know each other. That was just fine with you. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. At first you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Cove cried too. For different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. You weren't sure how well it worked, though. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents, and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. Though you never asked, you doubted he would tell you. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore, you were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes, too. Cove's cast got taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's chest puffed out in pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did in gym and other athletic situations. Over the years, he still remained familiar in a lot of ways. He talked to people when they came to him, but never really searched out company on his own. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks, but nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. You learned some heartbreaking things became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. That was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. You remember calling her Mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for the word. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname, too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dad struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work, if Derek had the time for it. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed. In small and big ways, you had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into this new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again. Oh, my new bedroom. It was the first day of summer vacation. The sun was as hot as ever, but you were inside and away from its harsh rays. Oh, neat. New bedroom. To be more specific, you were snuggled up in bed celebrating your time off by sleeping in, wide awake about to head out to enjoy your time off. Sleeping in. It was hot, but you still had the blanket up over your head to block out the sun. You didn't want it intruding on your lazy morning. Unfortunately, you hadn't prepared for an intrusion. From beneath the blanket, you heard the door creak open. You're still sleeping? Wow. Get up. Aw, Lizzie is pretty as a teen. Go away. You pretended to be asleep. You got up. You started to fake snore loudly. Pretended to be asleep. You stayed wrapped up in your blankets, not moving an inch with your eyes closed peacefully. By the impatient tapping of her foot, you could tell she hadn't left. Come on, I know you heard me. Get up now. I will come over there. So much for a lazy morning. Mom told me to tell you that Cove's at the door. Mr. Holden made him bring some happy summer gift over. Mom wants you to take it from him, say thanks or whatever. So come down already. Fine. Little words as possible. Elizabeth said nothing else and left, having done what was instructed of her. You rolled out of bed, stretching your arms up high, and you... Fuck. Time to get ready. You sat yourself in front of the mirror in the far-off corner of your room. Your reflection hardly even fit in the frame. You're very tall. Your reflection went over the whole length of the mirror. You're pretty tall. Your reflection fit comfortably in the frame, your average height. There was a lot of open real estate in the frame. You're pretty short. You had trouble getting your reflection to appear in the mounted mirror frame. You're very short. Pretty short. You could relate to Derek and how it felt to be smaller than people you thought you ought to be. Your shortness seemed to be more drastic when compared to Cove, who was unusually tall. You liked your height. You weren't sure how you feel about it. You were kind of self-conscious. And being short's fine. It suited you well in your mind. Then you put the finishing touches on your outfit while ruminating on the situation. Careless as they had been, Elizabeth's words piqued your curiosity. You were a little bothered by the intrusion. Your plans for the special day were quickly being bogged down. Well, at least there was some kind of present involved. You left your room, resting a hand on the railing as you went down the stairs. Step 2, second chance. You spotted Mom first, reclining on the couch. She held a magazine in her hands, which she was perusing through. Morning, Mom. She looked up at your greeting, a smile instantly appearing on her face.
Thanks.
Good morning, Risa. Thank you for coming down. Ma's at the door with Cove. He can't stay over today, unfortunately. Why don't you go and thank him before he leaves? You nodded and made your way to the front of the house. Just as she said, Ma was there making conversation. She must have heard you because she looked over her shoulder.
Oh.
Ah, purple hair, nice. Look who finally made it. Morning, sleepyhead. Ma reached forward, and you knew she was about to pat you on the head. She was taller than average for an adult woman, so at your height, you were absolutely tiny in her eyes. You let her do it. You happily let her do it. You tilted your body aside to dodge. You pushed your hand back and laughed. You pushed your hand back and groaned. I don't really like being patted on the head. You tilted your head. Ma didn't bother trying to catch you. She simply smiled. Ah, you're the last one down today, you know that? Life isn't a race. Ah, yes. I am 13 now. I am becoming poetic. Life isn't a race. Morning. I was gonna stay in longer, so you're welcome. Sorry about the wait. Uh-huh. What do we get? Just like, life isn't a race. Funny. I don't think that excuse will work if you're late for anyone other than your own mother, though. With a small laugh, Moll stepped aside. Cove was just as you remembered, exactly as you came to know him to be. Oh, oh, he looks so cute. What? He looks so shy. He leaned uncomfortably to the side in your doorway as his bushy hair covered part of his face. Oh. His features were pinched in embarrassment, and he shifted from one foot to another. He was holding what must be the much-talked-about gift. Looks like a bunch of fruits or something. At first glance, you figured it must be a bouquet of flowers. Then you gave it a real look. No. Instead, it was carefully cut fruit. Aha! I thought so. It made a lot of sense that it was actually from Cove's dad. You had to suppress a laugh at this showing. You couldn't imagine many folks buying that sort of thing for their own personal enjoyment. That kind of arrangement was built for the presentation, likely to impress whoever was inevitably going to receive it. I swear I feel like Cove's dad is trying to set us up together. It seemed that no matter how long he lived here, Mr. Holden would keep going out of his way to be neighborly, and Cove would always be roped into participating. Cove audibly sighed. There was no way to tell if he was just relieved that he could leave soon, or if he wasn't happy to see you. Either was equally possible. The two of you had never clicked like your families wanted, not even close. Hey. Hi, nice to see you again. Yeah. And that was all he said. Well, you supposed it could be considered comforting that some things don't ever change. It was already shaping up to be another long summer with Cove's undesired presence filling the days. His awkwardness over the task started to creep back in, so Cove nudged the gift closer to you. He was ready to be relieved of it. And with that, the gift was accepted. This is for your family. Dad got as a present for you all. I just had to bring it. He's busy. You raised an eyebrow at the explanation. Mr. Holden being busy is probably not the only reason he wanted Cove to be the one to drop it off, but you didn't comment. Aw, he's got so pretty. Thank you. To you and Mr. Holden. I'll tell him you said that. Mr. Holden's behavior really was different than any neighbor you'd ever had, though after 5 years you were used to his antics, and you'd since made up your mind on what your opinion was. Oof. My opinion on Mr. Holden. He was nice. He was sort of funny. He was pretty weird. You didn't like him. He was great. He was great. And kind of, I mean, nice? Or do I go weird? He was nice, I guess. You knew he wasn't completely perfect, but he always seemed to try so hard for the sake of others. Your thoughts were quickly interrupted by a shout. There you are. You shared a confused look with Cove. As one, both of you stepped through the open door into the neighborhood street. It didn't take long to locate the source of the noise. You spotted Derek just a few yards down the road. He ran up to you. I get to meet this mysterious Derek whom I've become friends with. Derek! Hey, Derek! I'm just remembering. Let's play by Dodger. Derek. I think it was Alistair. You were happy at the sight of him. You were confused at the sight of him. You were pleased at the sight of him. I mean, he's supposed to be my friend, right? So, Derek was certainly a welcome guest in your neighborhood. It was a pleasant surprise whenever he showed up. Aww. After stopping a couple of steps away, Derek hunched over to catch his breath. Then he looked up with a wide grin.
Hey.
Hey, guy and pal. I was just at your house, Cove, but no one was there. He's a sunshine kid. Okay. I'm glad you didn't get too far. Derek turned to you. He was going to say more when his eyes widened and he gasped. What's that? You followed his gaze, unsure. Then you realized what he meant. You were still holding Mr. Holden's gift. This? It's kind of like a bouquet of flowers, but made out of fruit. Nice! Can I have some? Sure, we can share. I haven't even tried any yet. It's a gift from my family. I can't give it to you. Maybe you can have some later. Derek grew more excited by your words, bouncing on the balls of his feet. Awesome! Then he nodded his head as if to clear it. Anyway, that's right. I came here because I needed to say something big. He paused, possibly for effect. There's some other kid here in Sunset Bird. Cove was as surprised as you were by the news. Such a reaction made sense. No one around your age has moved here since Cove did 5 years ago. Were they with their family? Maybe they were cutting through. Nuh-uh. This new kid was all by himself, just walking. Did you talk to him? Nope. I came to report the sighting right away. This kid. The kid had green hair, glasses, was pretty small, and seemed really upset about something. I hope he didn't leave. Another kid with green hair? You blinked. Slowly, you looked over to your longtime neighbor. That sounds a lot like you, Cove, when you first got here anyway. Oh, yeah, I guess that was me back then. Derek snickered good-naturedly. I can see that really well now that you say so. But what do you say? Let's go find Cove's look-alike. We should all meet him. I'll do it. Sure, I want to see who this person is. Derek grinned, then he pointed down the street the way he came. Last time I saw him, the mystery visitor was going in this direction. Nothing else needed to be said. The three of you were off, with Derek leading the way. Did I at least put the fruit bouquet inside the house? Derek brought you to the beach, and as a trio, you made your way down the shore to the old playground. You walked the familiar path in comfortable silence. When you were almost there, you spotted the kid in question. His bright colors almost shone like a beacon beneath the rays of the sun. He scuffled around, kicking up the sand as he paced. It was true, he certainly seemed upset, but you didn't think he was sad like you had originally pictured. No, with his erratic movements and scrunched-up expression, he came off angry. You became uncomfortable at the idea of talking to this stranger now. You didn't want to bother him if he was in such a bad mood. You shared a look with Cove. He was equally reluctant to start up a conversation. Derek didn't feel the same. He waved wildly, calling out to the boy, "Hey, guy, over here!" Oh. The kid whipped around, an impressive scowl carving deeper into his face. His eyes were tired, but a strong hostile energy still radiated from him. What? What is it? What do you want? The sharp tone made Derek flinch. He shifted on his feet. What's your name? Jeremy. Was that it? Jeremy. Was that it? Oh, Jeremy. Angry nerd is all I see. No, I'm Derek. That's Risa and Cove. We were just walking around and saw you. We wanted to say hi. There aren't a lot of kids our age in the neighborhood. Yeah, so, it's cool to see someone else here. Strangely, Jeremy grew furious by your response. If steam could erupt from a person's ears, it would have happened then. They did bring me somewhere stupid. Of course, I knew it. What?
My parents.
My parents? They're the ones who brought me. I didn't walk to this town. Can you not figure that out on your own?
Right.
Right. My dad brings me to Sunset Bird, too. When he has to come for work and all that stuff. It's not bad. That earned him a glare from Jeremy. Derek winced beneath it, glancing away. It was a struggle to remain friendly with this Jeremy guy. I mean, I wouldn't want to come here for a real vacation, probably, either. That's an understatement. This doesn't count as a vacation. It's a waste of time, a chore. My parents' family is nearby, and we just had to come and see them. Ugh. If they're your parents' family, doesn't that make them your family, too?
I guess.
Ugh, I guess. That's a pretty good reason to come by. Did you want to go somewhere else? No. Jeremy crossed his arms with a huff. He turned away. They should have gone by themselves since they cared so much and left me home. But I'm not allowed to be by myself. Pfft. It makes no sense. They're the ones who don't know how to do anything, and I'm the kid. He kept quiet. You shouldn't talk about your parents like that. Sorry, it must suck being forced to do something you don't want. We just said hello. You don't have to keep complaining at us. Calm down. You don't have to yell so much. Gross. That last one. You said nothing. You had no idea what to say to this, so you just stayed silent. Jeremy didn't even notice, too focused on ranting. How do they always make summer vacation worse every year? You turn to Cove, lowering your voice. The two of you aren't that similar after all. Jeremy must have had good hearing, though, because he caught the private exchange and scoffed.
Stupid.
Ugh, of course we're not similar. My eyebrows aren't stupid. The fuck is wrong with you, kid? Cove's cheeks flushed crimson at the insult. Aww. You couldn't be sure if it was out of embarrassment or anger, maybe both. Come on. What? No, Cove's wavy eyebrows are so cool. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? I mean the truest thing on this thing. The truest thing here. The bowl cut. Don't listen to him. They're really unique and special. Well, they are kind of silly. Apologize to Cove right now. You can't treat people like that. How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? Did I just double-click? What the fuck? How can you say that when you've got a bowl cut? Yep, it's embarrassing and awful. But my parents made me. I won't have it when I'm older. I don't know what he's gonna do with those things, except maybe shave them off. He probably should. I bet he'd look less dumb with no eyebrows. You just rolled your eyes. You crossed your arms over your chest. You shook your head. You patted Cove on the shoulder. You lunged towards Jeremy. You grinned at all of this. You just rolled your eyes. His behavior was unbelievably childish. You bet this was what Elizabeth imagines she's dealing with whenever you do anything. But with Jeremy, he really is like a kid. Wow, what is wrong with you? Instead of taking offense, Jeremy only parroted Derek's words in a nasty voice.
What is wrong with you?
Wah, wah. This is dumb. Jeremy stuck out his tongue and skulked away, throwing more sand everywhere as he went. You watched him go, hunched over, until he became a speck in your vision. Silence reigned in his wake. The three of you tried to process what just happened. I can't believe it. What a mean kid. Derek wasn't kidding, and by the sound of those earlier complaints, the new boy Jeremy was going to be in the area for at least a little while this summer. Derek sighed in dismay, plopping on the ground. You followed, and Cove did too shortly after. There wasn't much else to do. This sucks. I was hoping we could meet someone fun, hang out maybe. He shook his head. After a moment, he slowly turned to you with a hopeful expression. But, you know what would really improve the day? What? He didn't respond. Instead, he used a hand to point, right at the fruit arrangement that you were still holding. You'd completely forgot about it during the mini-drama that unfolded. You had gotten used to the wait. Glancing over to Cove, you noticed he was eyeing the fruit. He must want some too. Why not? Derek perked up immediately at your words. He reached out for a skewer, hesitating slightly once he was inches away.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Yeah. You nodded. With an eager grin, he plucked out a prime row of fruits. Cove grabbed one for himself after him. Only you were without a skewer of your own. Took a pineapple, a grape, a strawberry, a melon. I like a melon. The melon was cut to look like a star. It was obvious. It was the obvious first choice. Derek ate the pineapple skewer enthusiastically, finishing it within moments. This is amazing. It's not different from any other normal fruit. It's kind of worse. These have been cut out in the open with their skins off for a while. Sheesh. Hey, you two remember The Land Before Time? I so remember The Land Before Time. That fruit thing makes me think of that. The dinosaurs all liked the leaves that were shaped like stars. Tree stars. Yeah, chomping leaves looked so delicious when they did it. And there was that scene with the pretty trees and all those dinosaurs came in and picked up everything off them until there was nothing. That's us right now. Awesome. I love that movie. I've never seen it. I didn't like that one. The movie's for kids. Eating leaves looks good. Should I worry about you? Do you think things taste better when they're shaped like stars? He snickered. Not everything, but it probably helps. The three of you continued like this for the next few minutes. Eventually, the display was barren. It looked weird when devoid of fruit. Hey, we weren't supposed to eat all of it. It did help make you feel better. Eating it all hadn't really... It helped you feel better. Yeah. Fruit makes things better. Derek was right. It was so good you were already brightening up from the earlier drama. Cove stood up unannounced, dusting sand off his clothes with one hand. You saw a flash of his scar on the inside of his arm as he did.
All right.
I'm gonna go. Okay, bye, dude. Bye. You watched as he walked off towards some other place that wasn't here, his gait unhurried. You weren't annoyed or upset by his sudden exit. It was how Cove was, only sticking around as long as he saw fit. Derek let out a deep breath and leaned back on his arms. His head rolled until his gaze met yours. So, are you ready for summer break? Yeah, no, I'm not sure. Are you? How's someone supposed to be ready for a break? I mean, it just feels like there's a lot to plan for. Before you could say anything else, the light atmosphere was shattered. Hey, Risa! You glanced over your shoulder to see your sister. She strode closer and closer, appearing none too pleased. I've been looking all over for you. Ma said you and Cove ran off with the thing Mr. Holden brought for us. She leered over you with arms folded. So, where is it? It's gone. What do you mean, gone? You moved over to the side to face her completely. She zeroed in on the bouquet in your hands, which is now populated exclusively with skewers, dripping in juice and tiny flecks of leftover fruit pieces. Her mouth dropped open and the tone of her voice rose.
What?
Seriously, Risa? What were you thinking? It was supposed to be for all of us at home. Sorry, Elizabeth. Get over it. Well, the morning's been kind of a disaster. We were hungry. It wasn't us to see who came and ate it all. Sorry. Elizabeth narrowed her eyes, not at all placated. Oh no, I think I hear the mean kid coming back. We'd better get out of here. Elizabeth blinked, confused, and looked around. What kid? I don't see anyone. Derek didn't bother explaining. He just launched to his feet and ran off. You turned to watch Elizabeth. She stared back, brow raised. You ran. Without a word, you two got to your feet and bolted down the beach. Unimpressed, Elizabeth rolled her eyes.
So immature.
They're so immature. She shook her head as she walked toward the house, not bothering whatsoever to follow. Meanwhile, you made it back to the shoreline with Derek. Derek pumped his fist, grinning in triumph. Sunshine Kid. We escaped and shall live to see another day. Exactly, but we should keep moving. Yeah, for now at least. Victory! My moms are going to be so mad when Elizabeth tells this story. Yeah, for now at least. I still have to face Elizabeth when I get back home. You chuckled together, walking further down the beach side by side. You definitely wanted to stay outside a little while longer.